Welcome to Ponchatoula Live, the show where we make it easy for you to connect with the people of Ponchatoula. I'm your host, Parker Layrisson, and this is going to be our most delicious episode in quite a while because I have not one but two fantastic guests that are practically famous, not just here in Ponchatoula where they're based, but throughout the entire region because they have a world-class pizza food truck, Nola Mia Pizza. I'm sure you're familiar with it. The delicious creations of Chef Matias Rojo and his beautiful wife, Rachel. So with no further ado, I'd like to welcome them to the show. Chef, Rachel,
Hey.
welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know you guys have a ton of kids, a busy business, and you're moving, a busy life. We'll get to much of that in this interview, but I want to thank you for sharing your valuable time with me and our viewers. Why don't we kick it off with the two of you just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I guess I was born and raised in Argentina, in South America. A family of five, mom, dad, always working, very entrepreneurial. I'm the middle child. I got two sisters. They live in Argentina still. And after graduating from culinary arts school, I got a chance to come to the States to do an 18-month program, work at one of the nicest restaurants in New Orleans, a hotel. And I took a chance. I was young. I was 20 years old. I said, I'm going, and I got my ticket and my passport, and let's do it. Funny thing, I didn't know a single word in English. I did not.
Wow, that's brave.
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
But hey, I didn't care. I was just going for a and a half. It was gonna be fun, you know. Well, it happened. I get here to the States. They go pick me out of the airport, and human resource, the chef. Hey, welcome to the States, and how are you? How was your trip? I had no clue. I had no clue what they were saying, and I said, okay, this is gonna be rough. But
yeah, because this is an era, but there was no Google Translate yet, right? So it wasn't like you had an interpreter.
And there wasn't that many Latino, Spanish people around here.
Sure, yeah.
I just only met just very few, especially Argentinians. I only met like 3 or 4 Argentinians. This was right before Katrina, a few months before Katrina. And but one of my biggest memories, like how good, how welcoming everybody was. And I was just blown away by the culture,
Well, wow. So you picked, because you speak really well now. You speak great English, but you didn't learn that as a child.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Rachel is English.
So how'd you pick that up? I mean, was it just, did you have to take classes, or did you just pick it up talking to people and learning?
When I came at the hotel where I was, nobody was speaking Spanish. Nobody.
Okay.
And it was kind of tough because I knew that I had a lot of experience and knowledge. I just couldn't communicate to be working online on a fine dining, and the chef told me right away. He said, hey, listen, you need to learn English because you're going to be doing great here. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what about a girlfriend, Well, anyway. So
we're gonna get to that, but be careful. Your wife's next to you. You better get.
No, that was her. I met her the first week that was here in the States.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was hired by the Marriott and to be a hostess at the restaurant. Uh-huh. And so anyway, she was coming. What I was always was like, hey, what is that? I was making like cheese trays and stuff like that. So
now, Rachel, we're going to circle back to your background too. But before we do that, tell me about this. Since we're on the topic of this fated meeting between the two of you, what was it like meeting Matias before he spoke English, at work? What's your recollection of that story?
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Well, at the time, I was at the University of New Orleans, and I was taking as a second language, Spanish.
Okay.
And I was very early in that education. So the first few hangouts that we had, we just had a little dictionary, and we were going back and forth translating. And he didn't know how to say anything but "I love you," and I was like,
"Oh, nice."
Not on the first date.
Hey,
You know, the beauty there is I've looked back and I'm so blessed to have met my wife and be with Brandy now. But, you know, I probably would have been a lot better off in my dating days if I couldn't speak the same language as the ladies I went out with, because I probably talked myself out of a lot of good situations. That's funny.
But it was hard because
I bet.
especially when finally, you know, it was for real, and then we got married. It's not just the language; it's just two different cultures. And
Yeah, of course.
And my thing was, hey, listen, let's get the best out of my culture. Let's get the best out of yours, and let's raise our kids like that.
Yeah.
It's not working out very well, but but
I know better than that. Well, let's circle back to that Argentinian culture. What is the best of your culture? What was the best of your childhood? Tell us about the great things you brought up, because, you know, although you're right, we don't have a lot of Latinos around here. Thank God, a lot more in 2022 than there were, say, when I was growing up, our kids' age. But the ones we have are typically, you know, more Mexican. You know, we don't get a lot of folks here from Argentina. So tell us about what that was like growing up there and what the culture's like and what you brought our way.
So, let's see if I can. So where I'm coming from, it has like the biggest concentration of Italians, Germans, Austrians, and just very hardworking people, and very, very family oriented, friends oriented. And I think that's one of the things I miss the most, that we're trying to build right now with Rachel. Thank God she got lots of friends and community. We're trying to build community with our employees, with their families, and that's the biggest thing that I can talk about. When I grew up, it was a lot of sharing table with family and friends and
Sobremesa.
Sobremesa is the term that we eat in dinner, we're done with dinner, and we sit down talking another 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
And Rachel, when she went and experimented that, she's like, oh, I love this. I love this. I want my family to be like this. I want our friends. And anyway, so
and then when y'all meet like daily for your tea time, it's called mate.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah,
every day, mostly.
People takes time of the day to meet with family members and friends. It's just that's how it is. And on Sunday, they don't say, "Oh, I'm gonna stay home. I'm tired. Work all week." No, Sunday you're gonna go meet with your family and you're gonna meet with your friends.
And you're gonna drink a nice bitter tea called yerba mate.
We drink yerba mate.
What was that like, Rachel? The first time they dropped that one on you, what was that like for you, Rachel? Culture shock?
Yeah, I liked the tea. The odd part was that everybody drank from the same bombilla. It's like a little cup with a straw.
With a metal straw.
And there's the filter at the end of the straw.
Yeah.
And they just pass it around, you know. So I'm like, okay.
So you were like, you want to be at the front of that line, especially during flu season.
They don't believe in that, but
oh wow,
they're so close, and you know, people they do wipe the straw with a little napkin, but I guess the water is so hot that maybe it kills the germs. Well, I never got sick. And I love the artisanal pastries that there were bakeries on every little corner. We got artisanal, fresh baked pastries to go with it, so that was awesome.
Yeah,
yeah.
We were very
if my
spoiled.
wife Brandy's watching this interview, I think you just booked us a trip to Argentina because she is a pastry connoisseur, and she'll be digging that.
That's what I truly miss: the quality of the pastries and cakes. Mm-hmm. The cakes, that's what I miss the most. Yeah. The cakes at another level. It came with the immigrants. And they just did a great job.
Well, of course, I've had your ooey gooey cake, so you guys know your cakes down there at the food truck. I'm interested to hear more about that. If you don't mind, guys, I want to bring some comments up on board here because we've had a few people kind enough to chime in, and I'd like to share that. So Christy Guzman says that she loves this family and she loves your pizza. And Christy, I know you're not alone there. That's a very common sentiment. Christy, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Marshall Trey Muse, who's been a guest on our show, a very popular guest, says that you two are great guests. So, Trey, thanks for tuning in. It's good to hear from you. Your interview is certainly one of our best. And the next person, for some reason, it won't show me their name. It just says Facebook user, and they said, hey, so that might be a privacy restriction. But for the rest of you who are watching here, oh, you know what? Cherie Kinchin just chimed in. And or rather, I'm sorry, Cherie Wells. Cherie, forgive me. We grew up together. It's hard for me to sometimes call you ladies by your married names. I'm bad at that. But she says that we're so blessed to have y'all as part of the church family and the community. And she thanks you for sharing your amazing talents through the food truck with our community. And thanks you for being friends. So, and you got a good one there in Cherie. Her big brother Kyle and I been good buddies our whole lives, and it's just a wonderful family, the Kinchin clan. So thank you for tuning in. And Drew says, Drew, is it Miano, says that he loves the family. So, folks, as you can see here, we have the ability to share your comments with the Rojos. To if you want to ask them a question, if you got a question about Nola Mia food truck, a question about their family, or if you just want to say something nice, as these folks have, feel free to comment, and I'll do my best throughout the show if you comment live to share that with them. So we've talked about the Argentinian experience with Matias and his background and that brave adventure to come all the way, from all the way down in Argentina up here, not speaking a word of English, not into San Antonio or LA or somewhere where there's tons of folks speaking his language, but New Orleans in the good old days. Rachel, what about you? I mean, you grew up on the South Shore. You mentioned being a UNO girl. Tell us about your background growing up and kind of the culture you brought to this relationship.
Okay, I'm from St. Bernard, Louisiana. Come from a family of 5 as well, like Matias. I have an older brother. And I had a younger brother that passed. So I'm a middle child. He's a middle child.
Sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you. And he's a middle child with 2 sisters, and
Right.
I'm a middle child with 2 brothers. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
Quick question. How long did it take y'all to figure that out? Not being able to speak English when you started dating? Is it because normally that's first date material? You guys, it might have been 6 months till you figured that out.
I had actually pictures with me,
Oh, okay, that helps. Yeah, okay.
Actually, my brother that passed away, he had Down syndrome, and he, after Hurricane Katrina, he acquired a rare form of bone cancer. But he loved Matias's cooking. Who doesn't?
I bet. Who doesn't?
Very briefly, but he barbecued. He anything Matias cooked, he devoured. He just
The whole family.
Well, because you mentioned earlier, Matias, you're not just a pizza chef. You're not a one-trick pony. You went to culinary school. I mean, you worked at fine dining. I mean, you're a full-fledged, great cook, right?
I was telling people I was blessed that my mom and dad. Let me tell you what's funny. So my dad always worked for an energy company, and he was high in the company, and it was really hard to get into work to the company because Argentina, each state owns their own energy company. Yeah. So when you work for the energy company, you're actually literally working for the government, and it's a great job. And he worked for 39 years. Well, he always tried to get me into it. So he sent me to a high school where you can choose, you go and double the time, the regular high school, or you can choose, let's say if you want to learn about electricity, electronics, carpentry, mechanic. And so I went for electricity and electronic, and it was great. And he's like, oh, he's going to be my engineer. He's going to be in electronics and electricity, and he's going to work for the company, and this is going to be great. And it was the last 2 years, so I was like, Dad, I love it, and I'm really good, but this is not for me. This is just, I'm more in the artistic,
Right.
And he said, no, there's no way. He said, what you want to do? I want to cook. I want to cook professionally. And he could not take it. He was very, very upset, disappointed. Yeah. He was very disappointed. And
I bet.
I guess it's not like Asian cultures, but it was, he didn't agree with that. So Our
Well, that's
agreement,
tough, and he has probably wanted you to follow in his footsteps, and he probably saw a
absolutely.
lot of security in the path
Oh yeah,
that was similar to his, and there was a
yeah,
lot more of a chance in being a creative, artistic chef
absolutely.
type. Yeah.
It was a security. It was a steady, great job, and I was like, no, I think I'm gonna. So the agreement was, all right, we're gonna send you to the best place we can, in Argentina, and
Right.
that's what we did. They sent me to a really good culinary school, and it was great. And I was on the top of 120 students. I was in the top 10, so I got a really good job over there. And that's how I met people from the Marriott hotels who they hired me,
Okay.
and I came in. But when I came to the States, I was working for two French chefs. One was a master French chef. There's only 50 in the States.
Wow.
Then I went to work like different fine dinings, really good chef, and I love it. I love it. My story is that I was working in Covington for the Dakota restaurant. I
Oh,
was a sous
delicious.
chef there. Yeah, I was a sous chef there for 5 years, and we had kids, and it was just tough times.
I think that explains why your crab and brie soup is so good when you have that.
Hey, that's it. That's it. A lot of people don't know that's their signature soup.
Hey, if you know, you know.
And we do our own, version, close enough.
Yeah, no,
And
yours is
people
great,
around here
man.
love it.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
So, and then, like I said, fine dining was really struggling. And I had a friend that used to work offshore, and he said, "Hey, come work offshore with me, and they're gonna love you over there. They're gonna appreciate you." And I was like, "No, that's not for me. That's not what I do." I was very like, "Hey, I'm a fine dining, and I'm really good at it. I'm a butcher. I'm a baker, and there's a lot of chefs that, they're great chefs. They can't bake or they can't butcher or stuff like that." And I took a lot of pride in that, but I finally say, I have to take the job. And overnight, I just did double my pay. They took care of me like nobody else before over there offshore. And the guys, I was cooking for like 70 guys on a beautiful platform, really close to Grand Isle. And food, that's the biggest thing,
Hey, especially here in Louisiana, because we may not speak the same language, verbally, but we certainly love our food here, as you do down in Argentina.
And the guys, they're like, "Well, I know you know how to make jambalaya and gumbo like New Orleans style, but let me show you how we do it in Lafayette. Let me show you how to do it." And I learned so much from that. It was just a great experience for me.
Yeah.
And then we started doing cooking classes for kids. We were doing kids cooking classes here in Ponchatoula.
Really? Where did you do that? Where did that take place?
Well, we used to have a tiny small house, and we moved things around. We did the little kids from like 6 to 11.
We did it in our little bitty kitchen on Beauregard Street.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
50 square foot house, tiny kitchen.
Wow, that's awesome.
We crammed them in there, and they had the time of their life. We let them throw flour and do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
You guys have to bring that program out of retirement, because my little boys would dig it. Luke went to his second Halloween as a chef, and they have the little play kitchen in the house.
Oh, sweet.
They would dig it. Yeah.
You gotta bring it to the food truck, let them make some pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, they would die for that.
One day that we're closing out, you come in. So,
absolutely.
And then that turned to be like 45 kids a week. And
wow.
Then the parents, they want to have the same experience. So we came out with like cooking parties where everybody is cooking as a couple, with their husband and wife. And we were like doing a presentation, showing, and then bring all the ingredients and equipment so everybody can work as a couple. And then we all sit down, have a dinner. We always had a surprise drink and a dessert. And it was great. It was taken off. And then
we were actually thinking about doing that like full time.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
And we were going to go to South Carolina to a place that they actually have it. What was it called?
I can't remember. It was a
We're
famous
gonna meet with a
chef.
chef and talk
Where
about.
where did y'all get the idea for that? Because it sounds like a really cool story,
Yeah,
but that took some gumption with a
it was
1,100 square foot house.
I'm sorry. It was all organic. It was all
Yeah,
organic. We really believe in that. Like one thing grows and brings to another one. Just like the food truck that I guess we're about to talk about. But that's just the kids, and then their siblings, and then the older siblings, and then the parents. It was great.
Right.
We love it. So I think everything stopped when
we were supposed to go to South Carolina to meet
Yes.
with the chef when
right,
a
and then
tragedy happened.
yeah, I lost my mom and my dad tragically, and
I'm so
overnight
sorry.
I just
Yeah.
couldn't do anything. I was just completely out of motivation, and I was just down.
Because I had like a
We-
really dark
we
6 months.
Yeah, we
That must have
we
been
left
so
far
tough
away from it.
losing them both like that. How'd you bounce back? Because you guys are in such a positive, great place. I mean, what we've had, and if it's too sensitive to talk about, let me know. I'll move on. But
No,
we've had some
actually,
guests on the show really share some dark times, all the way down to death and devastation, loss of children, homelessness, etc. And it's been one of the best, most uplifting parts of this show is to hear how people have clawed their way back. And if you're willing to share something like that, we'd love to hear what that journey was like, Matias and Rachel.
yeah,
I think of faith, like
Yeah.
I was very close to the church at the moment, and just right before the year before, I was very close, and I feel like I was being prepared, and then I love my parents so much that I knew that they want me to come out and be a great father, a great husband, and even if they're not with us physically, I just feel that they were right there behind me, like, okay, what you're gonna do, like, just it's.
they wanted to live the American dream. So
Right.
food truck is part of their legacy because they were like, do something simple that everybody's gonna love. Well, the cooking classes wasn't as simple as they would have wanted it to be. It was very complicated, very many moving parts.
Yeah.
They would have loved for us to do pizza. Pizza was a big thing in Argentina.
Wait. It sounds like they love the food truck life. So I'm posting Kevin Hood. Now Kevin works with you guys, right? Is that right? Yeah. And I see the snake guy. I know one of your guys has got, and his son, they get the snakes everywhere. I don't know if it's Kevin or one of your other guys.
That's Kevin, his family.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're Kevin, thanks for tuning in, dude. I want to hear about your snakes one day on this show. We'll have to get you booked.
Yes.
But Matias, it sounds to me like your dad had come around on this career choice of yours.
Oh, absolutely.
Was very supportive.
Absolutely.
And like you said, Rachel, they wanted you guys to pursue a dream for your family that married your unique skills and passion with an ability to provide for your family. And wow, the foundation of faith really seems like the pillar on which all of that stands. So thank you for sharing that with us. I know that's tough, and I can't imagine how hard it was to go through it. But I know there are people watching this show that have gone through something like that or will go through something, and they'll hopefully learn from you and draw on that. So before we deep dive into food truck life, because I know everybody wants to hear all about Nola Mia, what that's like, what you guys have done and where you're going, what the future plans are. I want to pull up another comment here because we touched on, Rachel, your background, but Drew here says you're from the parish. So, and which you are from St. Bernard. He also says you guys are great friends and neighbors, and your 6 kids are very well behaved and happy children, which is great to hear. But tell us a little bit, if you will, because Matias shared with us kind of the really cool parts of his culture and background. Tell us about what life was like in the parish growing up and kind of what you're bringing up here, because Ponchatoula has been blessed with an influx of folks from St. Bernard. We got all these Chalmatians, Katrina and Sense, and it's been a blessing to this area. But tell us what it was like, because most of us have not spent a ton of time down there, and parts of it's the same as here, but part of it's very different from what I hear.
It is. There's a lot of similarities and differences. I think what I loved most about our childhood was everybody was always outside all the time, and there was just so many kids, and we just were always outside playing with other kids. It's not so much of that here, I don't find, just because I don't know, maybe it's just the different times.
I think it is. You know, when I was a kid, we were outside constantly.
Yes.
You know, I have this little Bikes for Kids program that all stems from me just loving riding a bike as a kid.
Yeah.
And my brothers and buddies and I would leave the house in the morning and not come back till dark.
Yep,
And we
that's
would
what we
spend the
that's
whole
what I
day
remember.
outside. And now as a parent, I'm like, that's crazy. I'll never let my little kids do that all day. So
Yeah.
I think, you know, I don't think it's we don't do that here in Ponchatoula. Y'all do that there. I think it's just a day and age type situation.
so.
But it sounds like the best parts of your childhood were not that different from what a kid of your age may have experienced around here.
Yeah.
Certainly a bunch of good cooking.
We had
You know,
a tight-knit community in St. Bernard.
Yeah.
Everybody knew everybody. It was kind of like Ponchatoula. Everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
I was involved in the community. I did every activity after school that you could think of, 4-H sports, everything.
Yeah.
I was just always this wanted to be around other people and in community and fellowship, and just so I guess, you know, that use that now with the food truck. We meet so many different people every day. But yeah, but I wasn't any kind of shrimp boat captain or anything like that. Like, I think
Right.
God has that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
My mom's originally from Pennsylvania, and my
wow.
dad's from Gentilly area.
Okay.
So, you know, that was we never had the traditional, New Orleans food a whole lot growing up.
Right,
She didn't like all that, the spicy,
Yeah.
She's still
real bland kind of food.
Yeah.
But so, it's okay. We teaching her how to cook.
She comes a long way.
Yeah,
Yeah. Little by
comes a long
little, you
way.
guys are dragging into culinary bliss.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time with my little brother that had Down syndrome. I incorporated.
What was the age gap? You mentioned being a middle child, but how much younger was he than you?
4 years, so I pretty much helped my mom raise him because she worked.
Yeah.
I brought him out with me and my teenager friends growing up because
cool.
it was hard for him to have friends because, you know, people didn't understand him.
Yeah.
But my friends welcomed him in. They just treated him like he was normal, which is what he wanted, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my childhood, I remember just helping raise my brother. And that prepared me for motherhood. So you know,
and it shows. It shows.
And you clearly excelled there. So let's dive into that. Motherhood, fatherhood, 6 children. I mean, you guys have got this great story where you meet as soon, essentially, Matias, as you hit the United States.
Yeah.
You guys presumably fall in love pretty soon thereafter. You get married. Tell us about the love story here. You know, when did the kids come along, and how do you go from 0 to 6, and what's that life like for folks like me that just have 2 and cannot imagine filling up a Suburban with kids? What's that life like?
Right.
Well, I briefly touched on, you know, we had a few little dates where we didn't know the same language, but I would say I fell in love with Matias through his cooking.
Nice.
I was 20 years old and I never had salmon before. One day he invited me to his tiny little apartment with a few friends from work, and he was cooking in this little like studio apartment where it's like, you know, the bedroom combined with a little bitty kitchenette, and he had the most amazing dinner prepared. And after that I was like, oh my gosh, like he got me through that, you know. So
you know, the old saying is the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, but we're hearing it can work in reverse, right?
Hey.
Nice.
Yep, I never.
Hey, any boys out there watching, there's a lesson to learn.
So how did we went from that to 6 kids? That's what you want to
Okay, so that's where we fell in love. I don't know when you fall in love with me. When you said I love you on the first date.
Yeah, that's a strong opening move. You have to have you better cook well after that if you want to
right.
I think when
Katrina hit.
I was in New Orleans. I was in one of the hotels. We got stuck at the hotel for days because the water was high.
I was in the Czech Republic actually because I was at UNO. I was studying English to teach English as a second language. So I went to go take European literature over there, which I didn't end up staying because of everything that happened with Katrina.
Yeah.
After Katrina, my dad went missing. He got stuck in the attic. My mom evacuated my brothers, so I came back to be there for my family. But he stayed in Argentina for a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, are you gonna come back? Like he might just never come back. And I was calling his house every day in Argentina. I was like, come back, I miss you. And,
yeah. And
so at that point, you guys weren't engaged or committed or anything.
Sort of. He gave me like a promise ring. To say, but
right before she went to the trip.
Yeah.
That was right before Katrina. And then that's what I knew that I was coming back for more than just cooking or
you knew it was time to lock that down.
Yeah.
So that was August. Well, we met in February 2005, right around Mardi Gras.
Okay.
Katrina hit in August. Then he came back a month later. Then we went and eloped in October.
That's really cool.
We both moved to Birmingham, Alabama to work for the Marriott there. And I went to college a semester out there. And that's where we eloped. And later got our marriage blessed in the church, in the Catholic Church in Argentina.
Oh, that had to be special. Wow.
Yeah.
We had a double wedding because my older sister was getting married, and
very cool.
I was like, you know what? I want to celebrate over there. I want to get married over there. The church over there is just very special for me. So we went over there, and it was great. And we had a double marriage.
But then surprise, I got pregnant December. After we got married in October, so after that, they just kept coming.
After that, you kind of stayed pregnant for a while. It sounds like
I still don't understand what happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes we joke about you, Matias, telling her that you loved her on the first date. Mr. Reggie Pugh, who I'm sure y'all know, he's a local legend and one of the finest men to ever walk the planet. He came on the show and talked about how he basically proposed to his wife on their first date, right?
Yep.
I mean, what an incredible story. Sometimes when you know, my parents celebrated their 50th anniversary this weekend.
Aww.
And, 50 years ago, they met in November. My mom had a boyfriend and my dad was unemployed. And by February, like 3 months later, they were married, and it lasted 50 years and nobody believed in it. So, sometimes when you know, and you guys literally moved back across the world, from the Czech Republic and Argentina to come back here where you met and get back together. That's a wonderful love story, man. Your kids are going to love to hear that one day. Right now, I'm sure they're like, no, mom, no, dad, y'all don't want to hear it. But when they're old and sentimental like me,
love's a choice. We had some rocky times with the cultural differences, but it's a choice.
Sure.
And you have to have God in the middle.
Amen.
And, having our marriage blessed in the church, God's grace is there, getting us through it,
Yeah. No, look, marriage is tough when cultural differences are just 20 minutes apart. I mean, my wife is a Baptist from Independence. I'm a Catholic from Ponchatoula, and we don't always see eye to eye, even though we're the same height, right? So it's tough in any circumstance. But when you add cultural and language and all these differences, geographic differences like y'all have, that ups the ante. So that being said, I mean, you have these challenges. You come from very different places. But clearly, you guys are, for any struggles you may have, a successful marriage. Your neighbors are on here commenting about how much they look up to you guys. Speaking of great marriages, a former couple that was on our show, Kevin and Stacy McElveen, says they're here talking about what a beautiful family you have and how much they love you guys. Kevin, Stacy, thank you for tuning in. It takes one to know one. Great couple, great business. Please go ahead, Rachel.
Sorry, we met them by teaching their children at the cooking classes.
Oh, great.
Stacy actually texted me today, having some fond memories.
They got great kids. Their son won a bike, and our Bikes for Kids program is designed to reward kids who are doing good things in the community, in their churches.
Oh, yeah, he won the
bike. And so, he's such an outstanding kiddo. We had to throw a bike his way. But just a great family. But my point here is, you guys are kicking butt as parents, as a husband, as a wife. Nobody's perfect, and we're not trying to pretend you are, but you are great at that part of your life. So what advice might you have for young couples that want to give it a run, or young married couples that want to become parents, or just anybody who are, is a few steps behind you in that journey of a love life, of a faith walk, et cetera. But what have you learned as a married couple, as parents, as husband and wife, that you think would help others to hear from you?
I think communication before the marriage, before thinking about anything else, moving in with each other, and taking over each other's bills, and I don't know, stuff like that. You have to be in the same page. You have to be in the same page. And if you're not, maybe you need to move on, because that was the thing that I got from my parents. Yeah. Every time that we got in a really stressful situation, and I was like, hey, do I really want to keep being mad at her and just pull back and get divorced and stuff like that? And I was like, no, that's not what that's not what they want us to do. And they really believe in marriage, and they lead us by example, both our parents. And so it's like, okay, with understanding that we're not gonna get divorced, okay, how we're gonna work this out, because we're gonna have to work it out. And I'm one of the bad things I always say about me, it's like I get very upset with people when they don't treat me right, or they respect me or anything like that, and I don't give that many second chances, let's say, and that's my personality. But Rachel, she got me. I mean, I always, it's always like, hey, at the end of the night, we're gonna sleep together, we're gonna share the same bed, and we're gonna work it out. And and she's absolutely like that. So thank God for that.
But, that's great advice. And Rachel, what would you add to that?
Oh, I would add a few things. I always told him God will provide, because we started very simple, very poor, if you want to call it. And he's the hardest working person I've ever met. And as long as he kept working hard, God did provide. And each child we had, God provided through Matias's hard work, and health, and good health, a raise or whatever to provide for our children. We've never had to be homeless, take on a whole lot of debt, be without food or anything. God always provided for us when we trusted him. So a lot of trust in God, a lot of hard work, and forgiveness. Like he was saying, you just have to forgive, and
and that's a tough one. We focused on forgiveness last night at bedtime with our Bible time with our boys, and they have trouble with that sometimes when they're squaring off. I know that's tough in a marriage too, but it's great advice. Well, please continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And then the wife. Okay, wives. I know we live in a different time where the wife wants to be equal to the husband, which it's like this. We're equal, but God has a purpose and plan for male and woman. So I believe the woman should be the husband's helpmate and be his cheerleader and support him in everything he does. And I think that's one very important role that the wife should take on.
And you clearly excel at that, because every time we see your business expand, or you guys, you're always there supporting your husband, and that's well known in the community. I applaud you for that.
Thank you. And I mean, it's just, even if you have doubts, like, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work out? Well, just support him anyway. Like, support his ideas. And it's
that's probably when he needs your support most, if you think about it, right?
Yeah, because
when it's obviously going to work, it's a little easier to go it alone.
Yeah, we made a few bad decisions with the business that we've learned from, but it didn't break us. It just kind of and we got out of it. So
have I.
Support him every step of the way. And that's what you have to do as a wife.
That's great. That's great advice. Well, before we move into, I want to talk about your business, but while we're on this kind of advice giving, tangent, let's talk about people that maybe guided you or helped you with advice. Like, I guess what I'm getting at here is mentors. Who have been people in your lives, whether it's family members from childhood to people you may sit next to or, behind in church, etc., But who are the folks in your life that you feel like have been guiding lights, and what did you learn from them?
For me, it was my mom and dad by far. Like I said, they wasn't living here, but we were very close. My mom was very thoughtful. I was thinking about everyone, how everything's gonna affect everybody. So she wanted to be like that. Um, Over here in the States, we met some great friends from church. Mike Former,
The
from
full
Oh
month.
yeah, great guy.
Anytime I needed any kind of advice about starting up a business, he was there. Like he's
When-
been awesome. Like he mentored
he
us
would know.
so much.
Yeah.
He supported everything, every idea we had, helped us
Yeah.
to make it better.
Yeah.
We had our first catered party at his house.
Yeah.
We did.
He's a great businessman.
Him and his wife and his whole family.
Yeah,
have been
they're
just-
wonderful people, and they support local. He was one of my first clients when when he could have hired a much older, more experienced, better attorney. He trusted me because he believes in Ponchatoula and bringing people up like you described. So great example. Yeah. Who else comes to mind?
Mr. Charlie Blackwell.
The best.
most
Yeah.
kind,
Rest
generous
in
man
peace.
you'll ever
What a
meet.
great man.
Yeah. I would say, my best friend, it was 83 years old.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
He's an amazing man. Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, you guys are naming some wonderful people there.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell how much you miss Mr. Charlie. It's written all over your face.
It was really
The whole
hard.
community does. He was one of my dad's dear friends and neighbors, and just the best guy in the world. Well, and I know Mr. Charlie would want us to get to the main event and talk pizza, talk Nola and Mia. So let's talk about this amazing sensation of a food truck that you have. Pizza's cooked at 1,000 degrees or whatever. How did this come about?
Well, that's the kind of food.
Tell them about the Pizza University while we were.
Oh yeah.
I told you we had 6 dark months after the tragedy.
Right.
After that, we're like, okay, which way are we going to go, up or down? So we started rising above by getting an idea of a proposed idea. We had a few of them, but we started learning about pizza. We're like, let's take a pizza university right here from home, and we studied wood fire artisanal pizza as much as we could, like in videos. Methods, techniques, everything. We just studied it to see if that was a possibility.
We started with the end in mind that whatever we're gonna do, it has to be great and in the best we can. And I was like, hey, and try to give people more than what they're expecting. So we're like, okay, we're familiar with pizza. We already love pizza, and that's what I grew up eating. That's what I love. And you can ask Rachel, I eat pizza 7 days a week almost. Whenever we go, we'll like pizza. And she gets mad. Why? Because I just love pizza. Anyway, and beef, of course, steaks and stuff like that. Argentinian people, we love beef. But the food truck came to like what was gonna be the closest environment for me to I always work, in a restaurant in the kitchen,
right?
No windows, or somehow I had a chance to work in an open kitchen, but I wanted the full contact. The experience, what I was getting from the cooking classes, I guess,
Yeah, to be able to meet the guest and see,
you want to see the joy in the face of a fat boy like me who really likes to eat your great food.
Exactly.
You can't see that from way in the back.
So, yeah, that's what it was. And I'm like, all right, well, what's our favorite pizza? Wood fire pizza. All right, let's get a real Italian wood fire oven. It weighs 3,400 pounds. That's
holy moly.
Once we got that oven, we're like, oh, now we need a special truck. You can't just put any food truck.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been so difficult to secure that in the truck.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We got almost like a brand new truck. It was more than we want to spend, but it all came together. And Nolomio's started. Well, the funny part is people that don't know, a lot of people don't know that we're from Ponchatoula and we live here. Nolamia was going to be operated in New Orleans. That's what's, Nolamia. And And Rachel, once the trucker was coming, it was close to delivery. She said, "Hey, let's give it a try around here in Ponchatoula because I have a lot of friends that they can't wait to try." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, whatever. Let's try because we haven't seen any food trucks in this area. We always see in New Orleans, and well, that give it a try. It was just crazy. We were selling out in like 45 minutes, an hour. We started like bringing 120 like pizza doughs. Then we turned to 150, and we're getting more experience and more refrigerators and a bigger commissary, and then to 180 to 240 to now we can handle like a lot of more than that. But it was a really exciting time when we put out a product and people were loving it and they were giving so much love. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're on the right path. People loving this. We're loving it.
And you guys were in demand, not just locally, but like the Saints are asking you to come cook for us and come back. And Cam Jordan's got a pizza named after. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, I was getting a food permit in Metairie, and a guy, a suit and tie, approached me, and he's like, "Is that your truck outside? I would like to see it." "Yes, sir." I never asked who it was. Well, he was part of the organization, and he said, "I would like you to come in tonight if you're available and serve the Saints plate." I was like, "Sir, I haven't even cooked a single pizza yet. This is, we're far away from that." But
right.
He said, "All right, well, we call you soon," and we got in the regular rotation, and it was super fun for me and for our employees too. That's another, cool thing about our employees that they get to meet all these people. Like we go to cater movie caterings, and we made some stars, and it's just fun. Yeah, we actually tomorrow we're catering for another movie with Nicolas Cage. We met Ben Affleck. We met
very cool.
What's Breaking Bad?
Bryan Cranston.
Oh, Bryan Cranston. We had a great picture with him.
Wow.
All kinds of stuff, like fun stuff. We cater for the Pelicans many times at the airport. It's just fun. It just we love it.
It seems to bring you joy. I mean, you're saying anybody who's. I mean, we know you've worked hard. Lord knows what time you woke up today and moving houses and making pizzas. But you still, if you could see your face, maybe if you watch this video, you'll see when you're talking about making pizza, you're smiling, and it's clearly it brings you joy to talk about what you do. That's exciting.
Absolutely. We always say that the food truck was a dream job, the 8 to 4. And it really is, but it's 8 in the morning to 4 in the morning. So, it never ends. But it's great. It's just one blessing after the other one. And anyway,
what have been some surprises about it? Because it sounds like one, I'm hearing you guys were on this journey together in lockstep. I mean, you did Pizza University together. It wasn't like he had to beat you over the head, Rachel, to talk you into doing a food truck. Y'all were in sync.
Go
ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We went.
I'm sorry. I said we also read Food Truck Business for Dummies.
Oh, nice.
Learned a lot.
Absolutely.
We learned every little.
You did your homework. I mean, you remind me of my wife Brandy and that you're planners. I'm a compulsive guy. Get an idea today, do it tomorrow. It may blow up. Who knows? But you guys planned everything. But I'm sure, despite the best planning and years of culinary school and fine dining and cooking, it's everywhere from offshore to 5-star. I'm sure there've been surprises along the way. So, what have been some things that you didn't expect through this business and this career path? If anything, maybe nothing.
We really got involved with the community, and I just didn't expect to create such a good family with our employees and stuff like that, like a crew.
We have such an amazing culture within our business. Like we're like a big family to our employees.
And that's
that's clear. I mean, Kevin here says you guys are the best bosses ever.
We love that.
We're getting better and better, I guess. When we started, everything was new and it was a lot of stress and stuff like that. but things have been settled down, and, and it's just getting better and better. So we almost started another food truck. It's going to be a gourmet burger truck.
Okay,
And
tell us about
it
that.
was a great, it was a great idea. I want to I had a company that built the pizza truck, but I want to build my own truck. And I was like, hey, I can do this, you know. And we did it, and it was great. But right when it started taking off a little bit, we just realized right away it's just too much for us to handle. It's either family or it's not about money. No, okay, back up. And we took a little trip.
During COVID.
Yeah, it was during COVID.
It's hard to find employees, but the ones we have are the best. So we find some more like that.
So we stepped back.
And you know what? All it's going to take is those 6 kids to get a little older. Then you're going to have a great stock of employees.
We stepped back and we're like, okay, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And all right, I guess we're going to focus on the pizza. Okay. And what's the next step? All right, next step is going to be working on our culture, the Nola Mia. This is how we do things. This is how everybody's going to come into our crew and be like, okay, so this is how you handle stuff.
Accountability.
Accountability. And every day it was like, Matias, what should I do? Matias. And now it turned into, we have part of our crew that they
have taken ownership like it's their own business.
Oh, wow. So how do you develop that? Because I think it was you, Rachel, that hit the nail on the head that it's really tough to find employees, you know, throughout the pandemic and now. So it's harder than ever, presumably, to build culture, get dedicated employees. You guys have cracked the code. What do you view as the secret sauce to getting from where you are to where you were to where you are?
Accountability program. Last summer we went to San Antonio. It was supposed to be a fun trip. It was a fun trip, but it was also Matias and I planning out the next step for our business, and we planned out like a accountability program.
With races. So
we started holding meetings weekly with our employees and just laying out like a clear plan for us. Where, because if we want to grow, we need them, like I was telling you, to become leaders, to get take ownership, which they have done, and so like we can send them off when we branch out. And so we've really focused on like he said, the culture within. And when you do that, and when you love your employees like their family, which it naturally happened like that. It's nothing. It's just nothing. That's where success comes from. I mean, we couldn't do without them. So
I can relate. My law firm's the same way, and it's trial and error. But when you surround yourself with great people and you empower them with accountability and opportunity, magic can happen. I want to share a few other comments here. While we're on pizza, Joey Cavalier has chimed in. Joey, thank you for talking about slinging pizza. And my buddy, Cheney Phillips, known as Papa C to some of us in the family, talks about how he won a pizza eating contest at Greek Week at Southeastern 50 years ago. And he can still pack it away. So let's eat. Cheney, your next Nola Mia pizza's on me. Let's go grab some. Awesome. Good to hear from you, my friend. And finally, this is just a great heartfelt comment by Miss Susan James, who talks about you two, describes you as darling, precious friends, and how amazing you are as friends in the community. And she's just thrilled for you. And talks about what leaders you are. So, she says, God bless you. And Miss Susan, God bless you for sharing that with you. That's really special. I know these guys will love reading your comment after the show. I promised the two of you that I get you out of here by 6 because I know you're busy with 6 kids. And so that gives us about 5 minutes. But before we wrap up, I want to ask about, your vision for the future, because you talked about, Rachel, how you guys went. I guess it was essentially, a planning trip, a retreat, if you will, to San Antonio. Yes. You guys have come a long way from humble beginnings and cooking classes in your house to this thriving business you have. and I know you have bold vision for the future. So to the
Mhm.
extent you can share that with us, what do you see for the future of your business?
I can share a little bit. So
Yeah, I'm not asking to share any secrets, but just
no.
you got to give the people a little of what they want, because we're all hoping for
some
more
people
pizza
love the
more of the
truck.
time.
Some people love the truck, but for us, it just our next step. It has to be a pizzeria. It has to be right now. The only way for me to step out a little bit, step out and be able to go have a conversation with somebody or a customer or guest, and it just have a larger oven, a little more friendly user. Right now, I'm the only one that cooks the pizza and the only one driving the truck. I have one our guy. He's we call as a sous chef. Ryan. He stepped in and started cooking, getting experience. But if we are in a restaurant, that's the only way that we're going to be able to grow and handle the numbers that we would love to do. Sometimes, as you can see at Gabriel's, the line is like 30, 40 people leaving.
Right. If you don't get there early, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And a lot of people understand.
It's a good problem to have as a businessman.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
The testament to y'all's success.
Some people don't realize we have 7 people working at the same time.
Yes.
And
a tiny little confined area.
And on top of that, you gotta have wood, and the refrigerator is like ginormous, and all the dough. So we're trying to make sure, But our next step is gonna be a pizzeria right here. We love Ponchatoula. We truly love this area, and we want to give them
Ponchatoula people. If you're still watching, the charge is there. We've got to find these people the right location. It's got to be top flight, classy. They're not going to do anything else. But let's help them find a place, because I would love to be able to get your pizza any day of the week, even if your truck is off feeding Cam Jordan and the Saints somewhere.
Right. So our idea is be able to bring, a larger menu, a few salads, a few appetizers, a great cocktail program. I'm into like really good quality stuff, and I just want to give Ponchatoula a place where they're gonna go. It's like, wow, I can't believe it. Look at how nice, how great service, how good food, and we'll get there. It's gonna be organically. It's coming. Yeah. Right now, we flooded during the hurricane and took us 6 months to get back. And the past few days, finally, we're getting back home. So now I'm looking to have a little break that I haven't had in the past almost 3 years, and then we're absolutely focusing on the restaurant. So it's coming. Our crew is ready. Our crew, it's been a lot of planning. This is not gonna be an overnight. Okay, they just put things together. We want to be proud.
I want to give a shout out to Betsy for making the gooey cakes.
They're so delicious.
Once we flooded, it was too much for me.
And Drew here comments that he's so happy you're finally moving back into your rebuilt house. Congratulations on that, folks. You'd never know it looking at them, because they look so fresh faced, and Rachel's so beautiful, and Matias is so handsome. But they've been busting their hump moving all day. So can you imagine? And they're still camera ready. So thank y'all.
Jesus.
Before we near a close here, I think our friends Kevin and Stacy McElveen said it best here, that whatever the future holds, it will be a gift to the community when this family is involved. So thank you for sharing that. Amen. I agree 100%. So before we go, is there anything else on your mind, on your heart, anything at all you'd like to share with our viewers before we bring our interview to a close?
A lot of times our customer come to the truck and they don't get a chance to talk to me or see me, or a lot of people I wave through the window and try they're walking out with their pizza like, thank you, because I just really want to,
We appreciate each and every one of the guests that come to our food truck.
Absolutely.
Because without you, we wouldn't be here. So
absolutely.
We thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for your support and for enjoying our pizza, giving us a chance here. I think that's the most, you were blown away by that. Like just when we started the business, just
absolutely.
the love and support. It's every person. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We really do.
Well, the feeling's mutual. As a community, we appreciate you guys because
Thank you.
you have given us something to be so proud of, because we know when that truck, people may not know that Nola Mia food truck is a Ponchatoula couple, with Ponchatoula pizza
Right.
serving the region, but we do. And, we're really proud because it is the best around. And it's so cool to have something like that come out of our little community. And I want to thank you guys for staying loyal, because you do make it back to Gabriel's with regularity and other places in our community. Heck, I drove out to across the river to one of those subdivisions recently where you guys set up. And, y'all have been very loyal to us. When it caught on, you probably very easily could have moved to Old Metairie, raised your prices and made more money. But we appreciate your loyalty to the community. It's been great. Matias, were you going to say something?
No, we also want to thank Gabriel's,
oh, yeah. They're a great family.
All this started way before the food truck, when you start building a relationship with people and you don't know why, and things later on and like start connecting dots.
Through Mike Fulmer, we met Mike DuPont. We met
he's great. Yeah.
And they gave us such an opportunity to park there. I mean, that was everything.
Yeah.
So,
well, and you're naming some of the great men of Ponchatoula, Mike Fulmer, Mike DuPont, Bob Gabriel.
So grateful for them.
And those are the guys that learned from the generation before them, the Reggie PVs and Charlie Blackwells, who we mentioned earlier, of the world. And now it's on us, guys. We've got to take that, to the next generation. And they're more than equipped. I see Mike's son Logan all the time when we're dropping off, picking up kids. I mean, they're doing their part. Logan's been on the show. I mean, just great families there that keep on giving. And whether it's, the Fulmers or the Rojos or whoever. So thank you guys. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Parker.
Thank you.
To our viewers, thank you for tuning in and stick with us. We'll be back next week. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care.
Awesome.
Thank you.